up what you're doing out here, man, city. Friday morning, went the weed out, then they took me to my pocket for my back weed sack. 'Cause I wanna get.
Excuse me. You guys going on the road?
He is right now.
Can we jump in with you?
Hello?
Where do we get in, at the back? Let's go, gentlemen. Sweet. Checking the ride. Ow!
Nice.
This is how you cruise.
Very nice.
Smoking limos too. Where's the ashtrays though? Shit. Want me to do an intake here? Can you hear me okay, John?
Yes.
All right, we're on the limo, guys. We're cruising around. Kush Cup's really kicking it off. We're now into the limo part of it, some of the after hours part, some of the stuff that, you know, you kind of don't really get to see all the time. But extended limo, we got this to ourselves just to kind of cruise around to some of the different venues that's happening here live today. And come down tomorrow, check it out Saturday, check it out Sunday. You know, you'll see what's going down. I mean, here we go down to now, I think there's 4 different locations that we'll be hitting, 2 different vapor lounges, a couple of different locations, sailboats tomorrow, a lot of different things to bring you. We look forward to bringing that to you as we continue. This part of the ride is kind of neat because stretch limos don't come by you every day unless you're getting married. So it's kind of cool. I don't know what else to talk about.
So how long have you been doing this? I mean,
The YouTube?
yeah.
7 years.
Really?
8 years.
I know.
Yeah, no, I started it just teaching to grow and stuff, and then the company picked me up about 3 years or 3.5 years ago, or 4 years ago even, just, you know, promoting the nutrients, and then just slowly elevated up with working with Justin.
You definitely have a nice following, man. You got a big following.
Yeah.
You got a big following. So.
Well, a lot of ethics goes into it so much. I mean, really it does.
Yeah.
It's on YouTube, it's like people think that you don't have any power just because you're nice.
Yeah.
The minute that you turn that power, you know,
Yeah.
YouTube has a lot of strength.
Yeah.
Like YouTube really does. They have a lot of strength. And social media has a lot of strength, but then on there comes ethics. You know, you can be the best commentator in the world, but if you're not ethically sound in your business and the way you put yourself out, the medical patients anyway, who are fighting for their lives, they give a shit about truth. They don't want to hear a sales pitch. They want to see truth. And then once you got their trust, of course, then you earn their respect. And that's like me being a medical patient. I look at it from that perspective.
Yeah.
How would I want to be treated?
That's legit, man.
Yeah.
That's good.
When we started, I used to flash my federal license because the FBI said, Jason, you're teaching Americans to freaking grow and grow what they call it, marijuana under section whatever, and you know, teaching one American to or whatever under such and such code is a federal offense, and you know, and etc. I showed it to the attorney, told nothing to worry about, basically told to tell him to fuck off. So I basically sent back an email and said, here's a scanned copy of my federal license. I'm a federal exemptee, advised by Crown Counsel to tell you, advised by counsel to tell you to freaking get rid of the, or to take it up with YouTube is what the counsel said. Said tell them just to take it up with counsel or take it up with YouTube because it's an international issue and the internet remains ungoverned for the most part, except for child porn and shit like that.
Yeah.
It's not really governed.
Yeah.
So cannabis is one of those gray areas, and now with legalization here, illegal here, there's a war going on. It's a war of attrition right now, and it's a social media war, bigger than ever. And there's all these entrepreneurs coming up at one time. So really, we're seeing a shifting in climate. Finally, the war on cannabis, anyway, aspect of the drug war, is coming to an end. Question is when this war is over, the people who fought in it for 10 years to win legalization, I don't think fought to lose their plants.
Yeah.
I never seen that. You know, I don't think people fought that hard to say, hey, okay, take my genetics, take my plants, I don't want to ever grow. I understand not everybody's not a grower, but everybody wants their weed. Somebody has to grow it. So I mean, you might not grow it, but you might want your buddy to grow it down the street. and not face Bill C-10 or mandatory minimums. You know, nobody wants to face Big Bubba in the pen for friggin' going and seeing your buddy.
Yeah.
That's messed up.
Yeah. Now, is it still strict here as far as the laws or whatnot? I mean,
Right now, because of the war that's going on over this coalition and with the federal government, it may sound, when I say war, it's because it's literally, it feels, it's like a chess game. They've made it so messed up and confused so many people that, you know, people are they tried to prepare to be LPs. Now they're finding out Marijuana Inc., at least Marijuana Inc. exposed themselves. In the US, they exposed themselves. As soon as they came out, Bill Gates associate. And those guys make like a couple hundred million a year. These guys are like huge, big dollars. So how do you compete with that? And Bill Gates is probably in the background funding the whole friggin' operation. 4 states, 200 clubs. Are you kidding me? I mean, these are big men. They call themselves Marijuana Inc. And it's like, you know, those of us who have fought all these years to get it legalized certainly don't want to buy solely from you. If we want to have that option of autonomy, you know, we're not hurting anybody in the process of growing, and we're not hurting ourselves in the process of using. That's been established in Canada. But what we're trying to do is get it to be extended. The right to autonomy, which we have here in Canada, the right to use cannabis medically, okay, we want to extend that to say that that also includes the right to grow what you're going to use. The right to autonomy, as long as you're not hurting anybody else in the process. Reasonable limits to the right to liberty. Section 7 is the right to liberty. Reasonable limits is Section 1 of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. So what's reasonable is the question. And is what the government doing right now, citing mold, fire, and gangsters as their justification for taking our licenses and basically a hostile takeover of the cannabis culture. Shut down all the clubs, take away all the grow licenses, you know, and then say, buy from us. And oh yeah, by the way, now in Canada, it's medical. We got a cannabinoids. And guess what? There's the indigenous cannabinoid system. But us activists that have been talking about it for friggin' a decade, you know, we're just a bunch of potheads, didn't know nothing. Well, now all of a sudden they know everything and we know shit. So they're going to come in and shut us all down because we're a bunch of people that don't know nothing. We built this industry. We built the networks. We supplied the medical patients. We made sure people were looked after. And they want to walk in now and just because they got botanists and doctors and money and just buy us out. You can't buy Canada. We got the charter. America doesn't. America has to face the FBI, the DEA, and the federal government. We've already won. We got charter establishment for use. All we have to now is take that fight to the next level. Take it and secure it. Secure our plants. I often use that analogy, man. Like, we're like here in Canada right now, we're like the Irish, and the clans didn't get along. It was like friggin', hey, the English are coming to burn our shit out and take our women. What are we gonna do about it? You know, are we just gonna friggin' sit there and say, oh, well, let's just protest the appeal? No, hell no.
Yeah.
Let's fucking take their ass to court and sue them.
Right.
What the fuck? There's 30,000 of us. That's $5 each. We go to court. You guys pay $15 a year to renew your license. You can't pay $5 Give me a break. I mean, come on. I mean, it shouldn't be on medical patients, really. The people living off of us for 10 years should be kicking up some fucking money because they stand to lose too. Like, I'm really passionate on that issue because a lot of people have lived off the medical free license, so they see it, system. It's a precursor to legalization for this country. And what people need to realize is if we don't establish this under the charter, personal production, once it's established, it'll be like the right to use. So then when they legalize, right, it's about model. So they have to then look at nothing but the model for Colorado, which is 6 plants, so that's reasonable for an adult, you know, or what's not reasonable. You know, so Washington, in my opinion, is not reasonable. Washington's like friggin', hey, what the hell? You know, they come in, and a lot of those people are sales even with the company. What they do, they went up until people realize, oh shit, we can't grow. And all of a sudden they're protesting now because all the clubs are getting shut down. Marijuana Inc.'s moving in. You know, and the question is Canada gonna get bitch slapped like Washington, or are we gonna stand up like Colorado? That's the question. You know, and the difference is we're already at the federal level, have been for over a decade. Canada needs to wake the fuck up to what's going on, or we're gonna get friggin' wiped out like the bunch of potheads they make us out to be. And we're certainly not. You know, we know what we are. The problem is that the people in this country, so many factions, groups, I keep saying, unite. You know, there's something bigger to deal with. When the fight's over, then we can all start dealing with it again. But it's too political because it's gonna affect business on every scope. It doesn't matter whether you're the end user or whether you're the person trying to supply the equipment to help that person get end product. You know, it doesn't really matter what it is. Their people stand to lose if personal production is removed because those big LPs are gonna order from China. They're not gonna come to any nutrient company or anybody else for their stuff. You know, they're gonna order big wholesale. You know, so friggin' it's gonna cut everybody else. It's gonna destroy the cannabis culture as we know it today. That's my fear. big time.
That's what we're fearing down south.
That's my biggest fear.
I mean, if it goes federal, we've already got the big guys just ready to jump in. You know.
They already did.
I mean-
Marijuana Inc. They announced it in Mexico. You guys are working with Mexico over there. Like, what the hell is that? I mean, what the fuck? One minute they're cartels and it's a war, and now all of a sudden we're working with them? It's like, fuck you guys, man. You guys fucking lie to us for 80 years. We turn over the truth. The internet levels the playing field, and now you want to take this shit to us? And now you want to shit on this country and our Constitution? Hell no. We need to stand up and exercise our rights. You know, and people don't realize you've got rights in this country, but you need to exercise them. And it's expensive. Yeah, $250,000 for a fucking lawyer. But you know what? How much did they make? How much are they going to take? 300 billion. And you're right, your kid's right, your grandkid's right to ever grow a pot plant unless somebody down the road, after thousands more people go to jail and suffer, challenges and raises another $250,000 and goes to court and actually establishes the right. This is what bothers me, because we're down to 3 months, and this is really what eats me up. The regulations, they overshot their enactment date, which was March 31st, 2013, where we could have geared up more. But they overshot their startup date. We thought that was because of the letter we sent to them. But when they overshot that startup date, that was very strange. And I thought, okay, maybe they're going to make some amendments and make something reasonable. Instead, they delayed it for 2 months and came out with the exact same goddamn thing they proposed. No, didn't change a thing, didn't listen to anybody, and even the BC Civil Liberties Union. I mean, this is a civil rights group in BC here, very powerful, comes out and says this is open to constitutional challenge. It's simply not right, you know, no matter how you look at it. So now we've got, you know, civil rights group and other people coming on board saying, again, this is wide open and is going to be a charter challenge. There's a price influx, and by their own cost-benefit analysis. That's the government's analysis of this program. That they're saying over the next 10 years, 30% of medical marijuana patients will not be able to afford their pricing scheme proposed. So by their own admission, they're producing a barrier. And any barriers to access fly in opposition to an already established Parker case in 2000. And that happened that made us have the right to use in this country. That started the whole program. Terry Parker. Then Jim Wakeford got the first license, Terry Parker followed, but Terry Parker won the actual right. He already had the right to use in the 80s for himself. And then when he got arrested for the plants on his balcony, you know, which again, cultivation, somehow during the court proceedings, imagine that, the CDSA comes in, and because he looked like he was winning, his charge of cultivation was changed to possession, which he already had the right to have. It didn't make any sense. They basically double jeopardied him a victory to use while giving him a regulatory option to cultivate. And we've operated that way for 12 years. And now they're taking away that regulatory option and saying, no, we're going to take that option away and you're going to solely be allowed to use because it's protected under the charter, but we can cut this off at any time, and we're doing that. And we're saying, okay, wait a second, we think this is protected under the charter. And we think that it's also an extension of the right to autonomy. A person's not hurting anybody, and allowing a caregiver. If I can't grow for myself, say I grow into the point that I get too sick to grow anymore, and my buddy down the street happens to know how to grow the genetics that work for me, okay, then we can get into the whole genetics argument, but just having that caregiver ability, taking that away is a whole nother barrier. You know, all these things become barriers to access, which becomes the charter issue, because the right to access has been established already under charter law, and anybody fighting for legalization, you know, in this country, you know, and wants to understand what kind of legal model or platform we're going to run on, we have to ask ourselves, do we want to be a model like Colorado? I keep repeating that, but to me, that's a fair and reasonable model. Medical patients can go by their prescription. A reasonable limit for adults can grow, you know, and there's still the option to buy from big producers that run their own clubs, whatever. But it's an open market and a fair market, and not a hostile takeover by a bunch of millionaires that didn't do shit to build this industry or to build the fucking help that's in place. You know, that just ain't right. You know, so that, again, that's why I'm so proud to be Canadian. I don't go over the border. I don't like the U.S. for that reason. I hope they change their stance. You know, because it's a plant. It's never killed anybody. You know, it's not. I don't need to advocate this. I mean, this is now established science. You go to Health Canada's site. It's funny. For 12 years, anybody can look this up. For 12 years, they didn't say anything about the indigenous cannabinoid system. They didn't say nothing about cannabinoids. They didn't say nothing about trichomes. They said this isn't even recognized as a medicine. It's court ordered. That's why it's spelled marijuana, M-A-R-I-H-U-N-A, which is the Canadian government's version of marijuana, because it doesn't exist. There's no reference to reference it. It's because it was court ordered, it doesn't exist. They don't want it to exist. Now they got the word cannabinoid up there. They're going back in. They're going to have to reintroduce cannabis, which was taken out. Cannabis sativa was the original medicinal name for cannabis. It was in pharmacopoeia to 1942 or 1940 when they removed it. And that's when reefer madness started. And the word marijuana actually came out of that. It came from Spanish. They wanted a Spanish word, you know, so that because back then, English-speaking Americans, we were scared of any foreign language. So Spanish language bothered them, you know. So that was the reason marijuana, it's reefer madness. Have you ever watched those old? Yeah. It's just, how could people, but again, there was no internet. There was no, how do you level that playing field? Yeah. You know, so with the internet, we've been able to do that. And through lots of ground campaigns and education. Like here in BC, we have 50% of all licenses in this country because we pound the concrete. We get up in front of the face of the doctors. We educate. You know, we don't necessarily be confrontational, but we educate and go forward and forward and forward. Right. You know, but now all of a sudden the government's coming in like, you know, like Goliath and saying, come on, take on whatever you want. And I feel like David saying, you know what, fuck you, I'm gonna give you my best shot, but I don't know what's gonna happen. Yeah. I just hope that John Conroy is that little rock in my sling that takes David down, you know, and the coalition, because it's not me. We haven't even got a plaintiff. I'm not the plaintiff, I'm just the guy that friggin' started it. You know, somebody had to do something. But when we name a plaintiff, which is me, I'm a target. You know, if I make myself the plaintiff, they'll tear me a new asshole. You know, I look too healthy. You know, we need somebody that, you know, is a plaintiff that hasn't done 300 videos and hasn't spoken out against or testified against the government, because what they're going to do is say he's anti-government, he's anti-this, he's anti-that. No, I'm not. I'm about friggin' rights and about constitutional rights. Oh, we're here, are we?
Well, business is blossoming at a hydroponic shop in BC. Sales have been smoking hot ever since 2 U.S. states legalized marijuana. The company, called Green Planet, carries everything anyone would need to grow plants, any kind of plants, indoors. In Colorado, it is now legal to have 6 marijuana plants in a secure